Alright guys, welcome to another tutorial, and in today's tutorial I promised to explain to you guys how I export my designs for screen. And it's not really rocket science, and there are different methods to it, but this is the method that has worked for me, that enables me exports very crisp and sharp pictures online. All right, so first off, you need to make sure your design at least is looking as crisp and as nice as possible, like this design is looking. This is a design I did a while ago, and it's a very nice design. And yeah, so exporting it now is now where most persons have issues. All right, so having established the fact that you definitely need to design on a canvas that is higher than the export resolution, all right, it's now how you export that now makes it look better, all right, or makes what you're exporting acceptable on the various social media platforms you want it to be on. So these are the two artboards, artboard 1 and artboard 2. All right, so there are two different ways to export, and I'll explain those two different ways in this tutorial. If you're not following or if you're not subscribing to this channel, this is about the time you need to subscribe and share this content if you actually find it valuable to you. All right, so without wasting much time, I'll explain the two ways. And first of all, you go to file. All right, so you come to file, you come to export. All right, under export you have different forms of export and all of that. All right, but I love using export as. All right, export as. So once I do this export as, it brings up this dialog box for me, where I have all my what do you call it, all the parameters here that will soon load up. It's actually loading up because it's slow because it's processing and all of that. All right, so this is what I have right here. So basically, first of all, I would want to make sure that my format is set as what, JPEG. Most of the time your format might come in PNG once you open this, but make sure it's a JPEG. Then my quality, I'll make sure it's at great. But the thing about it is that I always watch out for my size. All right, this 930, this is 930.7 kilobytes at 1080 by 1350. This is good to go, but there is a problem here because WhatsApp might just drain some quality out of this most of the time. All right, so most of the time I really love playing it safe by leaving it on excellent. All right, so that way I have something within 400 to 500 kilobytes and all of that, with my picture still looking okay. This 368 kilobytes, which is not bad, provided I'm the one doing the compression here on my software, not social media doing the compression for me. So this is fine, right, for WhatsApp and all of that. But if it's going to be on a larger screen, that is not your phone or your something bigger than your tablet or your laptop, then it might actually look not as sharp as you want it to be. But this is fine for social media. All right, so I make sure my image size is at 1080 by 1350. Right, so don't really bother about this scale because it's just scaling the project, the whole project, from the canvas size to this. So it's telling you that this 1080 by 1350 is 35% of the image size or the canvas size we designed on. All right, so make sure your resample is set on by cubic automatic. All right, so meaning as it's reducing by cubic, right, in pixels, the adjustment is automatic. All right, that's basically what this means and all that. Then there's bicubic sharper, there's bicubic smoother, whichever one works for you. All right, you can try them out, but I love using bicubic automatic. So it does the whole calculation and everything when I'm compressing my pictures for social media by itself. Then I have my width also as 1080 by what, 1350, because it is Instagram portrait. All right, so this has to correlate with this. All right, so I make sure my I can leave this as none, then copyright and contact info I can decide to turn it on dependent on whichever way, but it's actually not a prerequisite. Then I make sure I embed color profile. All right, embed color profile, this is very important. All right, because most of the time you find out that you might finish designing with a particular color, and when you're posting up on social media it comes out a different color, right? To avoid stories that touch, especially with systems that are not really color accurate, it's good you embed your color profile so that at least you have something good going on for you on social media. And most of the time when we upload some colors like this on social media, it tends to go off the color because of we didn't embed this color profile. All right, so this is for just this first picture. I would also make sure I do the same thing towards the next artboard or the next picture. All right, make sure everything here is JPEG, great width 1080 by 1350, always with the canvas size. All right, then embed color profile, very important. All right, very important. Then I click on export. All right, then it takes me to any of the folder. All right, I've exported this already, so this is where it is. So it takes me there. Then I just click on save. Once I click on save, it automatically saves the artboards here as JPEG. All right, so now the second way I can do this, I can export them individually. I can export each of these artboards individually. All right, so what I'll just do is I can export both of them with this particular command I want to use. I can't export both of them with this particular command, so I'll have to make sure only one is open and the other one is closed. All right, so this way I'll come to export, then I'll come to save for web. All right, it's also a different way to export. All right, but it's almost the same ideology. Okay, so I come here. All right, so it has this, so I come here, I make sure it's on very high. All right, not maximum, based on what the size. So you're saying this is 6.9 MB. This is actually not bad if somebody's going to frame it and all of that, but it's for social media, so it's too high. Right, so I come to very high. All right, so it's at 80, quality is at 80%. It's still at 2.52 MB, which is still high. So what do? I come here, I make sure my design is always at 1080. The barest minimum is 1080. All right, click on enter. So it has, shrunk down, I say, to give me 423.9 kilobytes, which is actually good for what I need to do. And if you zoom in, it's not even losing quality one bit. All right, which is very good and appropriate for me. So I make sure it's set on optimized, then embed color profile is ticked on. All right, that's practically all you need to do in this place. All right, then you come to save. Once you click on save, it opens up your file folder where you want to save. Then you can now go ahead to save. All right, so that's that about artboard designs. So we move over to carousel designs or continuous designs. So this is a branding I did for a band, and if you notice, this is not an artboard, it's a continuous, it's the form of a continuous type of design. All right, what do I mean by continuous? If you look well now, you see that this thing here, this W, T and S from this logo, all right, that we've taken as a mark, it's spanning between two pages. Right, you see the beauty of it. All right, so that's basically what carousel designs look like. All right, they are continuous designs. All right, so now you have different pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we need to export them as individual pages. All right, not as a whole. All right, not as a whole, individual pages. All right, so what do you first do? I come under where I have this crop tool. All right, I right click, then I come to slice, I pick slice tool. All right, so I'm going to slice this whole one long canvas into 5, and thank God I have these guidelines or these grid lines to actually tell me where to start and where to stop. And if you don't know how I got these lines, you can go back to the previous video I did before this to show you how I got these grid lines or guides for this particular layout. Right, so I come over here outside the canvas, I click at the top of this, I drag till I get to this grid or to this grid line, then I stop. If you notice, automatically it tells me this is 1 and it sees the rest other pages as 2. So I come to this 2 outside here. All right, I click and drag to the next point. All right, 3, 2 has come, then let me do it for 3. So I'll make sure I meticulously do this, because if you don't meticulously do it, there's every tendency that some of the slices you're doing might go out of the grid lines. All right, so I'll come here, do for all 5 of them until I'm sure I have 5 of them. So if you notice this stuff at the top, you see 1, you see 2, you see 3, you see 4, you see 5. So now we proceed to exporting. So how do I export this? I come to file, all right, then I come to export, then I come to save for web. All right, save for web is what would work best for this. All right, not export as. All right, save for web. All right, so once I come to save for web, it opens up my dialog box. All right, where just like what we did in the artboard, but it's now different because it is now going to be seeing those different artboards, or those different the different pages of slice as single pages. So if I click on this, you see it's seeing it as single pages because what we've sliced it up. All right, so each of this page has, if you notice, it has its own size and all of that, you get. So for the sake of this, if I'm going to do if I'm going to put this on social media, all right, I need to know that my barest minimum for length is 1080. All right, and if you watch, the only thing all these pages have in common is a uniform height. All right, that's this uniform height from this point to this point. That's the only thing they have in common, which is this height. This is 1158. So if I'm going to post for social media, I will just highlight all of this. All right, I don't care about the length of this thing again now. All right, what I just care about is this height. All right, to conform to what I need to post for social media. So I come to this height here, I click on make it 1080, change to 1080. All right, so it will automatically reduce the size of this. It will actually take the proper calibration for this width. All right, so there's no need to bother, just bother that one of the sides is compliant. All right, so now you notice that the size has reduced. All right, look at this, it's now 1 point something from 4 point something. All right, so this is actually not bad, but for this to be 1 point something means I'm not going up on WhatsApp, or I'm not putting it up on WhatsApp as an image or sending to somebody as an image on WhatsApp, and that is fine. All right, because this is a different type of, a different style of design. But if I'm going to put it up on social media or send it to somebody on social media or on WhatsApp and all of that, I can as well come here, highlight all of this, and come to this maximum where I have quality and make it very high. That way it further reduces the size of these images. So you're saying it's now down to 504 kilobytes, 471, 200 and something, 500 and something, then 200 and something, which is very, very good and okay for me. Right, so having all that, I can just highlight all of that. So there are two ways to do it. Either I highlight all of this, all right, I come to save, then I see all slices. All right, is an option. All slices meaning 1 2 3 4 5 7 to save all of them, or I can just select one, select this one, or select this two. All right, then come to save. All right, then I'll come to these slices and click on selected slices, then it exports only these two for me, then click on save and it exports. All right, so I'm sure you got all of that. If you didn't get all of that, you can replay it slowly and try to get it later at your own pace. Thank you very much, and see you in the next tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe and keep the notification bell on, so that once any new video drops, you'll be the first to get a notification. Thank you for your time, and bye.